Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to quickly reiterate what I put in the chat. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. We just want to give people an opportunity to join once load shedding starts. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, once again. Thank you so much for joining us on our fourth Transferrable Successes webinar. Today we'll be engaging on UCT's benchmark D, which speaks to place and space, how languages, names, symbols, artworks, and identity contribute towards the transformation agenda. It's going to be a very short webinar. We only have two departments presenting today. So it'll be Hub, which will be presented by Vicky Gibbon, and then IDM, which will be Crystal De Beer. So I hope you all enjoy, and please do stay till the end where we'll have an opportunity to have a little question and answer session slash just plenary discussion. I'm not sure if Crystal's in yet, but I see Vicky is in. So if you're ready, please go ahead and start your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm just going to, hopefully you can see my screen. Okay, if you can just confirm you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for honoring me with this award. It was quite unexpected, and I'm very happy to have received it. And also just thank you for your acknowledgement. So I was allocated 15 to 20 minutes. I wasn't exactly sure what to cover here, so I decided that I would talk a little bit about transformation built into my academic practice. And so I really think it's important that we talk about transformation in every aspect of our portfolio and our jobs, from teaching to research, all the way through to social responsiveness in much of our work to try and change and create betterment for South Africans. So you can see that, you can probably hear that I have a Canadian accent. So I'm Canadian born and I moved to South Africa in 2004. So I've been here for a very long time, and I also am a biological anthropologist, and as an anthropologist, I'm very interested in socio-cultural interactions, not only with our biology, but just as people. And I think sometimes we forget that the students in our classroom are people that we need to just try and reach through our lectures, etc. So I've been honored with this award for two of the transformation aspects that I do, but I do want to say that it is something that is built into every aspect of my job. So I'll just focus on the two that I received the award for. And so one of the things with one of my research projects, Imsalini joint disease, which is a rare condition only found in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal, a very northern community in KwaZulu-Natal, was that students were not passing grade 12 mainly because of math and science. And I was doing this other research in the community, and they had started a math and science after school program to try and address this. And one of the aspects is the one of the doctors was saying was, that none of these textbooks are in Zulu for the community. And so that led me to start working on creation of some anatomy worksheets for grade 12 learners, and really targeted to the grade 12 curriculum that I could roll out in multiple places where my research is based. So also in Sutherland, in Imsalini, and also in local schools. And so I created these worksheets in English. And then for the Imsalini community, I worked with one of our master students, Sandile Ntuli, to translate all of these into Zulu. And the doctor who we were working with, he also just verified the Zulu translations for me because I wasn't able to do that. And these are just some examples of what those worksheets look like. And then also doing the translations, I think is something that's important to think about, is that through doing the translation as well, is that I was able to give a small sum of money to one of our postgraduate students who I paid to do these translations. So it was also a way postgraduate students would be able to earn money themselves, which I think is an important aspect of what we do. So this is the musculoskeletal system, and then these are of the skeletal system. And what you can see here is that, we've got the English, then we have the Afrikaans and also the Zulu translation. So in Sutherland, the communities I work with there, their primary language is Afrikaans. And this really brings us into our research and started making me think about how does our research reach communities and South Africans in general. So a lot of the research we write is quite technical and in technical jargon, but often for high impact papers, we'll have these summaries of the research, pulling out the main points.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone, about that. I think Vicky might be having some network difficulties. I've just sent her a message. So I think while we wait, let's perhaps move on to Crystal's presentation. And then when Vicky rejoins, we'll just give her an opportunity to go once Crystal's presentation is done. If you're ready, Crystal, please can you go ahead? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Viwe, and thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm very delighted to be representing the IDM in this forum and to tell you a little bit about the project we did. So let me just quickly share my screen here. I did do nope, that's the wrong one. I did do a bit of a presentation. Here we go. All right, I'm going to assume everyone can see my screen. You can just stop me if you can't. Let's get that into presentation mode. All right. I'm assuming you can see my screen in presentation mode. Right. So this is got a bit of a backstory. So if you'll indulge me, I'll just talk you through how we got to the art project that is the subject of the talk today. We started with a series of surveys in 2018 and 2019, surveying the people who belong to IDM member groups and who occupy space in the IDM complex, asking them specifically why they don't make use of our foyer space. I don't know how many people on the call have been here for a long time, predating 2018, but the Wilson Pavilion foyer space was historically quite a popular space for events. And we increasingly noticed that people weren't making use as much of the space as they used to before. And we wanted to understand what was preventing people from using the space, but also what we could do to make it feel more inclusive and specifically to make it feel like home. We didn't want it to be a cold clinical space. We didn't want it to be devoid of a personality, as it were. And so we were really asking probing questions in these surveys to understand practical or other reasons why people weren't using the space. So the main outcome from that survey was, of course, that the noise was a big issue. The foyer is large, it echoes a lot. There's people in there and there's an event happening on the one side. So we've got sort of like a event side that's usually quite open, and then we've got the other side that's more of a cafeteria side. The people in the cafeteria can't hear themselves. There was also some complaints about the patio space. So if you leave the foyer onto the patio, people were saying it wasn't really fit for purpose, wasn't a nice space to sit in summer. It was too hot. There wasn't umbrellas. The chairs weren't comfortable, things like that. And then, of course, saying that they really would like to use the space more as a co-working space, not just as a cafeteria space and an event space, because, of course, there's not always events happening in the foyer. And the chairs that we used to have down there weren't really suitable for sitting and working on it for a long time. There wasn't appropriate desks, things like that. So it was really a lot of practical feedback that we received for why people weren't using the space. But we also then wanted to understand, what would make the space seem more representative of our institute. And so artwork came up as the biggest sort of thing we could do to change the face of the foyer area. Specifically, historically, we used to have artwork all along the curved wall. And I don't know how long ago those were put up, but they had been faded over time. They were all images taken from microscopes and of microscopic things. And we were getting feedback that that was not representative of all the work we do in the Institute, and it was largely lacking our social responsiveness and public engagement components. So we got a lot of data, a lot of suggestions, but then of course we needed to have the time and the resources to then convert that into action. So this is why the story is starting in 2018, because it really has been a long journey to transform the space. So we obviously started with the most obvious things. Here's some pics of what it looked like in 2018 before we started the renovations. For those of you who aren't familiar with the space, so you'll see the colors were quite dull, the furniture very dated, very uncomfortable, and then the patio just having that wall to sit on. You can't really take your food with you if you want to sit outside, and no shade in summer. So these were sort of the very practical considerations. So first off, we started off with revamping the space to address the noise concerns. But before we could do that, we needed to decide on a color scheme that we would now make the identity of the IDM. And that in itself was a 6-month consultative process. So we had designers work with us. We drew up a series of color schemes, color palettes. We circulated them for commentary. And the one that was met with the least resistance is the color scheme you see now. So that bright blue, the turquoise, the dark blue on the ceiling. You'll see there's these panels hanging from the ceiling. There's sound suppression panels to keep the noise from sort of flowing upwards to the office spaces upstairs. We've got that dark purple. You can't really see that on these photos here. And those were kind of the colors that were agreed upon that most people liked. And then, of course, this yellow you see on my presentation as well. We'll see that in a little while to pick up on sort of the wooden elements that were in the space. So that was the first thing, just painting out the space, redoing the floors, installing the sound suppression panels, better lighting as well. So we took out the old fluorescent lights to really give the space a new look. We then went about changing out the furniture. So you'll still see the historic chairs there, but we had them refurbished. And then here you'll see the yellow I was talking about. These are now horizontal sound suppression panels. And so what you can do is you can create these relatively quiet spaces in the foyer, and you can see there's people making use of the co-working spaces. There's big tables, everything is on wheels, so it's a very dynamic space. It can be adapted for purpose. If we have functions, you can move everything out the way, and then if the space is not being used for a function, people can sit and work together. And so you'll see obviously in the photos different ways that people have been using the space as a co-working space. So this now brought more people into the foyer because we wanted to have a bit more traffic. And then we started thinking about, well, what will make this space representative and inclusive? And so the first thing we did was revise the value statement of the IDM. We really wanted to foreground how important transformation is, and not just say that on paper, but also make that a lived experience. And so within the transformation portfolio, there's been a bunch of things we've been doing to try and reach every level, every constituency within the institute. But what we thought would be really nice was just to visualize our vision statement, our value statement. So excellence, collaboration, and transformation is our values, and you can't really see that all that nicely on this picture. But we just took planters, worked with Burko. They put some the wording on there for us, and we thought that was a nice way, sort of a more artistic way to represent that. Then just talk about the patio space. So that was the next project we undertook. It was partly with P&S because the roof, this patio is the roof of a space downstairs. It had started leaking through the patio into the space downstairs. So we needed to resurface the patio in any event. But buying furniture that's comfortable to sit on, having umbrellas there so people can use the space in summer, just livening it up a little bit. We've got some artificial plants out there to make the place seem a little bit more lively and to connect it nicely with the color that we brought in on the inside. And then the subject of my talk today, which is the Iwoza Works of Art Committee project. So the wall you see there with the pictures on, that's the curved wall. So after the renovation, that was just painted turquoise, because it's the backside of the entrance wall to the institute, if you're not familiar with the space. And we wanted to have artworks put up there. And so we met with the Works of Art Committee, with the director of the committee, Naja. And we said, look, what does UCT have in its portfolio that we could put into this space that would be representative? And after a very long consultation, we realized that UCT didn't really have anything that spoke to the kind of work that we do in the institute specifically. But fortunately, Naja had met with Anastasia at a different event. Anastasia Koch is the founder and sort of manager of Awarza. It's was a social responsiveness project that started also about 2018 inside of CIDRI, the Wellcome Center for Infectious Disease Research in Africa, and as a collaboration with the MMRU, oh no heavens, mycobacteria. Anyways, I'm not gonna go down that road. The MMRU. So it was a social responsiveness project that went out into the community, into Khayelitsha specifically, engaging with high school students and exposing them to artistic techniques, so videography, photography, stuff like that, but also exposing them to laboratory techniques and to try and work around their understanding and their experience of HIV and TB. And so this project has obviously grown. It's now a NGO. It's out there. They've got their own offices outside of campus in Khayelitsha. And they produced a lot of artworks as part of this project, or art pieces that could, so like I said, photos and videos, music, all kinds of things. And so it was just happenstance that the two of them met and decided, well, let's see if we can collaborate on finding some artwork that we feel was representative. And so the three of us sat together. We selected these images that you see here. There's a QR code on the wall, so you can scan it, and it'll take you to the website there that's linked in my presentation, and kind of tells the story of how Iwoza came about and how this project came about and where those images come from. But then we realized the big windows on the opposite side facing these artworks let in a lot of light. And as they had faded our artworks in the past, we really didn't want to put up this beautiful installation and then have it damaged by the sun over the course of summer. So we decided to put just some vinyl there to try and filter out the light. And Anastasia came with a suggestion, why not put word clouds on there? So they had the year that we did this in was obviously in last year's cycle, because we had to pause this project 2020 to 2022 for during the lockdown period. And so it was towards the end of last year that we actually completed the installation. And in that time, they had asked the high school learners that they were working with to do their own mini research project. And the research project was surveying people in their community, asking them what words come to mind when they think about TB and HIV. And so these word clouds are the outcomes of that sort of mini research project done by, I think, grade 9 and 10 learners in their communities in Khayelitsha. And so that is largely how these two artwork projects came about. And yeah, I think that is my presentation. I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Crystal. I think we'll leave questions right till the end so that people can engage with both you and Vicky, if you don't mind. Yeah, so Vicky, I think you're back online. You can go ahead and start with your presentation. Thanks again, Crystal.
Okay, let me just share. Sorry about that. I'm on campus, and so I'm not sure if everybody else is on campus, but I had the load shedding. Can you see my slides?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Slides, no.
Share. I want to share the screen. Okay. How about now?
Yes, thanks. Coming through.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, so let me just recap. So as part of my IMSELINI work, one of the most important reasons that people were not passing grade 12 and not matriculating was poor math science. And so I helped create these worksheets and had them translated into Zulu and Afrikaans for another community. And then also translation of research into South African Indigenous languages. So I had this paper come out in 2021, and it involves the ethics of DNA research, and in particular, ancient DNA research primarily focuses on Indigenous communities from around the world. And so as part of this, I had it translated, the entire manuscript translated into Afrikaans as well as Xhosa, are two local languages from my region. And there were, this paper was actually translated into 54 different languages from around the world, representing the global authorship list. And so one of my PhD students, Liesel, did the Afrikaans translation, and then Atsi and Luiso did the Zulu or the Xhosa translation. And again, I just want to say that this is transformation on a variety of levels. It's also providing some income for some of our students and junior staff members within the faculty. And then I also thought I would just speak about the Sutherland restitution journey. This is a very large research project. It's also part of a very important social responsiveness project for not only the faculty, from the entire university. And one of the things I'm regularly asked to speak about the research as lead researcher. However, there's a lot of soft science in here, but also a lot of knowledge exchange that I think gets lost in things. So I've prepared this short video to sort of show the transformation of this process, but also some of the outreach I've done in the community. So let me see if I can make this work. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, it's not going to play for me. That's quite disappointing.
I think if you're struggling to get the sound to work, if you're comfortable, you're more than welcome to upload it onto the chat, and then people can just take a look at it in their own time.
Sure, sorry about that. There probably is a way to have it come through the call. I'm just not actually sure how to do that. I can't actually share it because it's it's not public. That I created it for just presentation, so I'm unable to share it. But that's all from me.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're open now for any questions or comments from everyone who's joined the team. Thank you so much, Vicky, for that presentation. It really was incredibly insightful. And thank you both to you and to Crystal for the amazing work that's happening in your respective departments. So we'll open up for questions and answers. If people aren't able to speak through their mics, you're also more than welcome to put comments into the chat box. Okay, it seems we have a rather quiet audience today. That's no problem. I think then we'll go ahead and end the webinar session. I think it probably was more taking in of information than anything else today. So thank you again to presenters. I think we all have learned so much of the work that's being done in the different departments and the faculty. Yes, Vicky, you can go ahead.
I just wanted to say that at the end, maybe I can try playing that video without the headphones on. I think someone said here that, so it's only 1 minute 50 seconds. So just when you're done, I can try.
Yeah, no, you can go ahead. I was basically done already, just saying thank you. So you can go ahead and play.
Try. Can you hear it?
No.
Still no sound.
If you go on where you're supposed to click share your screen, at times you have to click on share with audio. Sometimes it doesn't automatically share your audio. So you'll just say share content and then say include computer sound.
Okay, I see that now. Let me try one more time. As soon as I have this thing from the current slide. Okay, let me know just thumbs up or down whether you can hear. Don't know. Could you hear that though?
Yes, we could.
Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. It's close enough. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you so much, everyone, again for coming through. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye.